afternoon everyone, welcome back to Excel Snippet, your video number 16. In today's concept we are about to see how to work with formula versus formula. So in the last two videos we saw the ribbon function with the formulae function, and in this point we are going to see a formula versus a formula. Again, when I work with this dimension, I'm not going for the entire formula yet. I'm doing one part of the formula and I'm trying to do few more addition of formulas in this list. So let's see how to work with the data effectively. So the first function that we are going to see today is date difference function. So here I'm about to find out what is the date differences on a given dimension. So I can give the following dimensions like year after month, month after day, month and days. We have one function called Datedif. So Datedif, actually what it does is it calculates the number of days, months and years between two dates. The function is useful for formulas where you want to find out the age, so how old I am. For that reason we will use this functionality. So here I'm going to find out how old our independents are. So to do that I'm using a Datedif functionality, but for a disappointing component here that the Datedif function is not a part of our drop-down list. So when you type the date functionality, you won't see Datedif functions in our drop-down that we normally get our formulas here. So I'm going to use the Datedif completely, or I type the entire formula here and then give an open bracket, then you can see that Datedif function comes into play. Now I want to keep the first date as my logic, and then I'm going to log them by giving an F4 once. We call this as absolute cell reference. If you want to know more about absolute cell reference and cell references better, I'll add the description below in this video. You can see the cell references video in my YouTube channel, and then give a comma and I'll go to the next point, and I even going to log the date which at last, and I'm going to take the year here. So now you can see that it gives you the year here, and now you can see that I have logged the formula. The formula will look like this. So I'm going to create a formula text here and then add the formula here. This is the formula that I have added here. So I just gave the start date and end date. If I want to make them look even more better, I can give a name manager here. So let's add a name manager right now. So I'm going to just place the cursor in here. I'm going to go back to my formula. I'm going to define a name here, and then I'm going to name them as start date. So normally it automatically picks the dates, but I don't know why it's not picking up in this list. Normally we get the date picked by itself. So I'm going to define the name again, and this time I'm going to say end date. And I would like to even define this cell so that I can define them very clearly. So it's giving you the year. It picks the column part perfectly, but the row part didn't pick well. So it says E. So instead of this, I'm going to say years. So now when I add a formula again here, so I'm going to add a formula below. So I'm going to say Datedif, and then I'm going to give an open brackets. Choose the first cell. So when I choose the first cell here, automatically you can see that it is not going to ask you a question of absolute cell references here, because I just name these cells here. The advantage here is when I do that, I have an issue here because I'm trying to figure out the list. So I'm just selecting the here on top. So let me just do one small change in my name manager. In the year, I have chosen the value field here. So I want to choose, this is my value field here. So when I give an enter, so I'm naming it as years here. So now when I close this, probably my data point will work effectively. So I'm going to select my first date, comma my last date, comma my year. When I give an enter, you can see automatically get the year option coming up here. And now I'm going to add the formula here. So I'm going to say equals formula text. Choose this, and now you can understand this formula even better because I have named each and every range in here very clearly. So the D8 talks about the starting date, and the D9 talks about the end date, that is today, and the Y is talking about the years here, or the year you can mention it as. So now I'm going to populate this formula for the rest of the line. So I'm going to just populate this. So you can see automatically it gives you the year after month, month after date, month and date. I want to improvise this. I want to put this as a sentence here. So India's independence calculation stands as. So now I'm going to put all of them in double quotes so that I can add a concat functionality here easily. And then I'm going to just say add, and then I'm going to give concat here. So before that I'll just add an equals here, then I'll come back. So it's equals, double quotes, give an enter. So now I got the list. So now I want to say ampersand, and then I'll say concat. So in the concat option I'm going to add all of them one by one, or if you're using the best function that I can use here is called text joint. So when I say text joint, it allows you to add a delimiter once, and then I can add these components 73, and then so I'll just say 73 years, 8 months, 21 days old, and 884 months, also number of months, and then I'll choose number of days old. So when I give an OK here, you can see that it gives you the list here, but I didn't mark them completely, so we will have a kind of a break in this list. So I gave the year here. So instead of giving this, I can just type this as year, so I can get the output better for me. So the Indian independent comes in this list. Stands as 73 years, 8 months, 21 days old, 884 months old, and then okay, I think the spelling is a little weird here, so I'm going to just say months old here, and then number of days old here. So I'm going to add one more dimension here. So the logic that I want to add here is I'll add one more dimension, I'll give a slash here, so that it allows me to get to do something better. So now it bifurcates my dates and months here. So let me just put them all in a merged cell, and then wrap them up, and then make them the center and make it a bold one. So now we got a statement running below. It says Indian independent calculation stands as 73 years, 8 months, 21 days old, and 884 number of months, and 26,928 number of days old. So this is the formula that I've used in this dimension. You can see I just added a formula text here. Again, let me mark them also in a dimension so we can see them and we can use them better. So I used a normal text, and I used an ampersand, and I started using a text joint here, which allows me to add the space really very well, and then I can show them completely. The next formula is a very interesting formula, because the next formula has a lot of function in it. So it converts a number into any given dimension. I am planning to do only one here. I want to find out how many years are we in this list. So to do that, I'm going to convert this into a year based logic. So I'm going to use 3 different formulas here. So let me do one by one. I'll show the formulas one by one here. So I'll add the formula text on the right, so that I can use this formula text and copy paste that dimension. How do I build this formula one by one? The first function is I want to find out the number of days between these two, because when I use convert function here, you will ask for only one number, and then it will ask you what is the unit, from which unit to which unit you want to convert it. So the conversion factor will come into play. The biggest plus that I have in here is when I go to convert function, I can see somewhere around 102 variants here. So this is the huge variant list that I have ever seen in a formula inside Excel. So this is a big variant, but it is not giving me all my yearly component, because when I go down to the year part, it gives you only 4 dimension to me. It gives you year to date, maybe date to year, hours to minutes, and minutes to hours. So I can convert only 4 dimensions here, and 5 dimensions here maximum until seconds. I don't see a month or a day here comes up here. So I'm going to use the year component, but to do that I'm going to use the first formula here called days. So these are the formula. This is the first formula that I'm about to use. This is the function which we would have done it in a much easier way. This minus this, so this would have given you the same answer, but I'm in a date format, so let me just convert them into a numerical value. So it gives you the number of the day that I got in here. So my Datedif function, what are the number of days that I got? But I got this is the first function that I have mentioned in here, so I'm going to copy paste special value it, but I'm not going to use this function. So instead I'm going to use the same function inside a formula which came into existence from 2013. So now you can see that I have used a date and time functionality. I didn't do anything very big, just follow the functionality here. So now I'm going to use the convert function. So the convert function number field will be this function, the day function here. So I'm going to give a comma here. Then now this is in days, so I'm going to say days here. And one more thing that I felt a little odd here, because when I type this, I may not be able to get to that particular formula. It is not going down to the formula. So if this one goes down to the respective selections, like we do, for example, when we do a sum if function, or when we do a networking days, when I type 11, or when I can drop down it, so I can do that. But here there is a very little component here, so I have to find out what is the day that I have to mention here. So I have to type day here to find out it. So I'm going to give a small day, double quotes, and then give a comma here. Then it gives you a drop down what else you can do with this kind of conversion. So a day can be converted into either a year or a half, minute, or second. So it gives you the conversion results also for us. I'm interested in giving a year here, close the bracket and give an enter. So it gives you a list with the dimension here. I cannot do a rounding of here because I'm not getting the rounded figure here. So it gives you the breakup of all of them. So I'm going to just create one more function here. So let me just copy paste this, or I'll add this functionality one more time. So copy this, paste it here. I'm going to just make this as 15. So I'm going to say copy paste special value. I'm going to use one of the numbering function which is called trunc. So I'm going to remove the decimal portion which is there at last. So I don't want the decimal portion to appear here. So that's the only reason why I'm using the trunc functionality. When I give an enter, and it removes the function. Unfortunately I have the decimals coming up here. So now I've converted it into a year. Again, I'm touching this, I'm doing a lot of things here. So but I can able to convert a number into date. Again, we will see a lot more about a convert function furthermore, and I really enjoyed it when I saw that, and it was a humongous function. Dear engineers, if you're looking forward these, or if you're looking forward for some conversion factor to happen in Excel, probably use this function. So I saw 102 variant here. Probably it might be very useful for you. Dear engineers, please use this formula for all the conversions instead of manually creating a formula or manually minusing it using a math operators here. I really enjoyed it. So I have a lot more function to cover and convert. So I just picked up one dimension. I tried to improvise it by bringing into a multi-dimensional data part here, and then I got the results here. So probably I should have used a day function or a month function to do further more, but I don't know whether I can able to achieve this, because when I try to put two different dates here, I won't get the year after month functionality that I show in my day-to-day functionality here. So it's going to show you the entire months. It's going to show you 884 months here when I try to do a month function. So let me just try in front of it. So month, I'm going to take this month, but again, when I take the month, it gives you this list. I'm going to give a comma here, and then when I take a month here, I don't think this is going to give you the right answer for us. So when I try to do that, so it's going to give you a negative answer here, because I'm not specifying the dates year here. So probably if I put the year first and then the month, then probably it might give us some sense of work here. So hope I will add another video on it. So now I just started working on the difference between the Datedif function and convert. I used only one part of convert here, with the permutation combination of multiple functionalities here. I felt it is nice, and if I can able to generate them in a much more automized way, it will be even more better. I just created an insider formula, and I just built the entire list here. So I just used a function on the list here, so which allowed me to do things better. So this is the formula that I wrote. I started with an inside out function. So first I created a date function or the day function. You can see that